Hey, what's up, guys? Wanted to put together this tutorial for shifting over grids. Whether you have grids in Notebook or Material Cube, wherever they come from, just wanted to show you this. This is a fresh copy of the Guide for Ultimate Golf. So, as you can see, as soon as I go into Meshes, it's blank. This is actually one of the most regular questions I get. Is kind of, what's the process for creating? First, you always got to hit the activate. So that's the very first thing that you got to do. If you haven't done already, you'll have to activate this. You'll have to toggle it on to draw over. So I've already gave it permission to draw over. But you can see here's a fresh copy. I'm going to go to Notebook real quick, and I'm just going to do settings. Let's just do wind alignment, for example. Let's just do a couple lines here. So I'm going to do, actually, that might not be the best. Let's do one vertical, one horizontal. It can technically be anything. There's two different ways. So when I hit the plus button, let me just go back one layer. There's a plus in the right-hand corner. As soon as I hit on this plus, I can say whatever I want for this. Keep in mind, this is like a global class. So like this very first naming convention, it's going to be like a big layer. So for example, if I wanted a class of elements, this would be this first name. So this first name here, if I want a group of elements, granted, you can still use it as one, but let's just say, for instance, I want to call this a class Golf Clash Notebook, for example, shift over, like whatever you want. Maybe that's the best example here. So this element, as soon as I hit the save button here and create this, it's going to be that group of elements. And then what I need to do you see the plus in the corner? This is going to be for individual elements. So we'll go to the plus sign here, and we'll do another line. Here you can see it is going to be a line. Of course, we can go segmented, we can go circle, we can do whatever we want. Keep in mind that we had to be activated. If we didn't hit the activated, you wouldn't see that. And you can see that they're clearly labeled purple and orange here. In the top purple, that is our live draw. And the only thing I'm going to do here, you can see all I'm doing is I'm just shifting things down and then drawing right over. I'm using the D-pad to just replicate that exact line. So you can see I've essentially drawn that exact line. So as you can see, this is a vertical line, and we're just gonna, this is an individual name. So let's just call this wind vertical arrow, would be a good identifier for it. Thickness, we can make it as thick as we want. It gives us the freedom to do what we want. We don't have to be, very specific, or and of course with the color we can do the same thing. We can make this any color we want as well. So here you can see this is just a good replication of that original line. Now Golf Clash Notebook Shift Ever, that's the global name. We're going to go down here and we're going to do a new element. So we're going to hit the plus again. Before we actually save the overall, we're just going to shift everything over. So again, we're going to do a line. Of course, we could do a grid. Like this would be an example of a grid. This would be a rectangle, but what we want specifically is line of the horizontal, vertical, freeform. Freeform is going to allow you to do basically slope lines. So it no longer has to be straight. But what we're going to do in this situation, we're just going to do horizontal. We're keeping things very basic here. And then you can see how easy this is all coming together. Same thing, let's just shift the thickness to very similar. What was the other one? 2.4, 2.5, like anything in that realm. We're just going to shift down here, and we're just going to put it in the exact same spot. So as soon as you see it, over top of it. And same thing with this. We'll just stretch this out. We can make this any color we want. It really doesn't matter. We can go this color. We can even make it a little bit thicker if we're not happy with that thickness. We can save it. You can see I just called it line because I didn't update it, but this would be a good time to put, maybe just directional, horizontal, like anything you want. It really doesn't matter. It's like a crosshair. And all it does is it updates the name. And you can see this is a class of elements. I can add as many as I want to this class. So let's just say, I had another circle in here, for example, or even a grid. If there was a grid, and you can see I can stretch this grid as far as I want. I can go outside the bounds of the screen. So if I wanted to put this grid inside and only have it as a specific spot on the screen, it's as easy as doing this. And if I want to stretch it out even farther, we basically just hit the D-pad and we just put it wherever we want. We can call this whatever we want. A box, like it really doesn't matter. So this is just the identifier. So let's just call this, a box for aiming, for example. It's just an identifier. And you can just use that and you can shift it to anywhere on the screen. Once you are okay with what you have here, and you can see this global class here, Golf Clash Notebook Shift Over. All I'm doing is just labeling all the lines that I'm shifting over and then hitting the save button. Once I hit the save button, these are all a class together. They'll go off or on together. Now, the only thing that you're seeing here is you're seeing the Golf Clash Notebook lines. So if you want me to have all three of these, and you can see they all three come up together. So you can see they're all in one class with just one tick mark. So one tick mark controls all three of those. You can do this for as many elements as you want or as few elements as you want. And then once you're happy with that class, you basically just either keep it checkmarked on or off, and you are now off that class unless you go to the edit. Edit, you can go in at any time and you can just edit those. Now you can see I just lost the subscription. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the restore. As you can see, it just restores my window. I do have a subscription, but the subscription technically, it's optional. It's nothing that you have to do. But if I want to start a new class, all I do is the plus sign, and I can just, let's just call this new class. And this can be an entire new class of elements. Just keep in mind, there's no point of saving this. It needs to have an actual defined. Let's just, for example, just go here and we'll just call this, we can call this whatever we want too. It's really just an identifier just to help you know what it's called. So let's just call this the aiming circle. This is a perfect example. One of the techniques that I'll do is I'll just take a screenshot and then I'll just go in between screenshots, like in two tabs at once, kind of like this. So if I was to go to my screenshots, it's a perfect example. Screenshots, I'll go to me in game, for example, just like this. And then I'll just say, oh, I want this to be on this specific spot. Now, this is a bad example because it's not of me at the take shot button, but this would be a good one for me to firm up my wind, for example. But that's all I'll do is toggle between the two, and then I can just put it right here exactly precisely where I need it on the screen. And of course, I can always thicken it as much as I want. I can also shift the radius, but once I am happy with that number, I can just go ahead and stop it. Of course, we can give it any color we want as well. Once we're good, we hit save. Keep in mind, you're going to want to save this new class of elements. That new class can be anything, But yeah, you know, I probably wouldn't call it new class. I would call it something like shot circle or something to that effect. Just keep in mind that it is a new class of elements. That's why I labeled it as such, is because basically once I click on this, I can add as many things as I want. So this is a new line. This, you know, this could be my Nirvana line, for example. It could be anything. It could be any line that I want it to be. It can be segmented as well. So let me go ahead and do segmented. And we'll just add segments. For example, if I wanted to break a line down into tenths, this is a perfect example. And we'll just break a line down into tenths, and we'll move these together just by pressing the down arrow. And let's just say we want it to be, this is showing tenths. So 10%, 20%, 30%, all the way to 100%. So this could be a breakdown for you, and you can squeeze it or expand it as much as you need. Once you're happy with it, you know, you can also do the tick mark length. You can make it as thick or as wide as you want, you know, within a reasonable, like, you know, we came up with like parameters to just make it restricted because there's only a certain thickness that makes sense realistically. But you can see that it just has a group of lines that'll give you a nice precise element. And once you save this, as you can see, right now it's just called segmented line. Of course, you can go back in and you can edit it at any time. You can call it anything you want. So for example here, we'll just go Nirvana 8, for example. Perfect example. And I can check mark one or the other. I can actually break these up and dissect them, or I can have them all together. Keep in mind they're in the same class, so they will toggle together. And now you can see these fire just like this. So if I just want the one, that's fine. If I want them both together, I highlight them both together. If I want the one versus the other, keep in mind if I actually want to eliminate one element, for example that, we'll go ahead and we will click one, save it, and we can eliminate one of the elements from showing just like that. So that box I took out, now the box is in. So easy peasy. And you can see, you know, the easiest way for you to be able to do elements is to have something in mind, and if you want to replicate it, you just draw over those old elements. Good luck out there. Let me know in the comment section if you need some additional instructions. I'll try to put together more videos for you in the event that you need more assistance. Just let me know. Thank you. Have a good one.